Hey guys, welcome back to Charlotte Market Insights. Today's topic is about VA loans, and specifically, if someone is a veteran, is a VA loan always the best route to go? So there's a couple different angles we can look at this, some pros and cons, and of course Stephen is here today to discuss this with us. But Stephen, naturally you would think as a veteran, hey, I'm a veteran, I'm going to do a VA loan. Is that always the best route to go?
It's a case by case basis. We're very passionate about our veterans. My brother's a retired Navy pilot, as well as my grandfather, and we do a lot of VA loans. So, first and foremost, it's always an honor just to have a conversation with those veterans. But, that is the mindset, right? Most veterans, say, hey, I put in the time, so I've earned the right to, use this loan, which is absolutely true. But there are scenarios where a conventional loan or an FHA or something else might come into play. And it's the old saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, I totally agree, Stephen. And the reason that this topic came to my head is because a couple months ago we had a borrower that came to us and was a veteran, wanted to do a VA loan. And after talking with him on the surface, this person was going to be putting down 20%. And my thought process, well, if you're going to be putting down 20%, you're going to avoid mortgage insurance anyway, and you won't have to pay the VA funding fee. So that would be one scenario that would make sense to just do conventional, right?
Yeah, and it does come down to math, right? So let's highlight the positives of a VA loan. They allow lower credit scores. So veterans can go down to a 580, sometimes even below, and get approved for a loan. They are eligible for 100% financing with no mortgage insurance. But there is a funding fee that the VA uses to fund the program. It can be anywhere from 1.25% all the way up to 3.3% of the loan amount. So when you start to factor that math in, certain veterans may be financing over 100% of the purchase price of the home. And that could make great sense for them. But in your instance, Brian, that's a really good topic to take a dive with that veteran, because there's also ways you can be exempt from that VA funding fee. So if you are exempt from the funding fee, historically, VA rates are just a little bit better than conventional. But if you have high credit score and you're putting money down and you are not exempt from the funding fee, you could actually put yourself in a worse lending position using that VA loan.
So, Stephen, you just actually talked about credit scores, which brings me to if someone does have a lower credit score, they would get a higher interest rate on a conventional loan. So, you had mentioned VA interest rates are typically less than the conventional rates, but you also said something about the funding fee. And are there different types of funding fees?
Yeah, there are. First time use, subsequent use, and then if you are a reservist or a National Guard. So each veteran has a certificate of eligibility, and we pull that, and it literally tells us exactly what it is. And if the veteran, is receiving VA disability, they may be exempt a 100% or partially exempt from all of those funding fees. So it is a case by case basis for each one of our veterans. That's why it's super important to kind of have this conversation, get educated, and look at the difference. But when it does come down to credit score, a conventional loan is very driven on credit score. The VA loan, those rates, the credit score is important, but it's not as indicative as to what rate you're actually going to, end up with. So sometimes it does make sense for the veteran who's in the lower score quadrants to kind of look at that VA loan, because they would definitely have a higher rate in the conventional world. But if they don't have a down payment, that's another big thing that we look at is, are you interested in the 100% piece of this puzzle? Because if so, that's where the VA loan shines, and the veterans really get that benefit of 100% financing with no PMI. And if they have the funding fee, that's just the cost of doing business for them, because they get the other benefits of that loan.
Yeah, for sure. And not to muddy the waters anymore, but when we're talking about closing cost concessions, there's also a difference there between a VA loan and a conventional loan. So that on a case by case basis could also come into play. If someone's trying to get more concessions from a seller to buy the rate down, because what the VA closing cost maximum percentage from a seller is 4%. And on
Yes,
the
sir.
conventional, there's different tiers too, right?
Yep. Conventional can go anywhere from 3, 6, and even up to 9%, depending on your down payment. And that's very important right now, which kind of goes back to working with professionals that can help you navigate, this home ownership journey. We're seeing a lot of seller concessions being offered, not only from builders, but, homeowners that are looking to move their home right now. So lots of puzzle pieces that go into it. But the positive from my side is we focus and specialize in VA lending. So we know how to help the customer understand their options. Another thing is veterans sometimes don't understand you can actually have two VA loans at the same time. We've helped multiple VAs, multiple veterans navigate those waters. That's a little known fact about VA lending. So just like anything, there's pros and cons. And if you are a veteran, my advice would be let's have the conversation and look at the math, identify what is, the highlights of your mortgage application. And then you ultimately get to make the decision on what route you want to go. But we've helped lots of veterans close VA loans, and we've helped lots of veterans close conventional and other types of loans. So definitely a case by case situation.
Yeah, guys, and if you need to get into the weeds with Steven and talk about your situation, right there is all his contact information. If you scan that QR code, or there's a link in the description, that'll take you right there to his calendar. And also, guys, if you're getting any value from this topic or any other topics we've done, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We have a whole calendar of new videos coming your way, talking about everything real estate and mortgage related, specifically here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And speaking of that, if you do need my help in your home search, you can find me right here as well. There's a link in the description below. But Steven, always great to talk about mortgage topics, because I think it's so important, especially now as we're going into this new year. A lot of people are going to be thinking about making moves, and the more concrete knowledge we can give people is always helpful. So appreciate your time on this topic today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to serve in any capacity we can. And just being educated is the key. It starts with the pre-approval consultation, and, we'll take it from there. So looking forward to helping anyone that's out there.
All right, guys, that's all we got for today. Like and subscribe to the channel, like I just mentioned, to stay up to date on everything we've got coming your way. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next video.